Hello, buddy. This is Kyrix with another edition of This Week in Kyrix. Today is Wednesday, September 28th of 2016. And I'm just checking because I've been wrong before. Yep, it's Wednesday. Yeah, I wish I could say that's a joke, but it's really not. I'm just completely incompetent with the day. Anyway, eventful week-ish? Yay, I'm famous, I guess. Ops. Something tells me I might have been waiting on those, but I don't care, because blueberries! Blueberries are a thing. Yeah, I found out some fun shit about this little scarecrow and what kind of radius this little fucker has. Oh my god, the range on this bitch. No. I'm just selling some shit now. Hops can stay. So, been watching an anime, Monster Musume. I'm probably fucking up the pronunciation because Japan. But, it's really cute. It's short, though. It's only 12 episodes, but I enjoyed it a lot. It's a lot of fun. It's very cute. It's adorable, really. But yeah, it's a lot. I really have fun with it so far. Sadly, it's over. I've run out of episodes to watch, but there are no more episodes to watch. It only got up to 12, apparently. Hopefully there's a Season 2 planned. Apparently it's doing really well, topping the manga charts in America. Like, it's outselling Attack on Titan and Bleach or Naruto? I want to say Bleach. So, who knows? Could be a thing. That's the thing I've been doing. Been working on Final Fantasy X too. I've started recording that. I'm like 6 episodes in. Progress is slow and will continue to be slow. Partly because the schedule I'm keeping. I'm the roommate, for reasons unbeknownst to me, has been starting to sleep on his own in the room next to mine, instead of his own bedroom. Which, hey, it's his house, he's entitled to, but when he does that, I really can't record at night, or do much of anything. Because I record against the wall that borders his wall, and I can be kind of loud, you know, so that's a thing. I've been keeping weird hours, so when they are at work, I'm still asleep. And a lot of times when they're at work, I want to do other things. Like yesterday, rather than take advantage of the huge amount of time I had to record, I just watched Monster Musume all day. I mean, I still got some recording done, but 2 episodes instead of the 6 to 10 that I should have gotten done. So it is. I have started watching a new series. A live stream at that. I'm not normally a live stream person, but Doopy Do-Over, who I know from Planet Dolan. From watching her, I don't know her. You know, seems like she'd be fun to hang out with online, though. She's adorable, and goofy, and fucking filthy. Oh my god. That adorable exterior lies a fucking vulgar girl, let me tell you. But, I follow several people on Twitch, and I get things in my email, hey, Proton John is streaming live on Twitch, Luca Jin is streaming live on Twitch, Fee-Kun streaming live on Twitch. So yesterday I get a thing, Doopy Do-Over streaming live on Twitch. Oh, okay, that's nice. Because she's an artist, she streams art. Generally speaking, I don't care, you know? Nothing against Doopy, she's a fantastic artist, her drawing style's very cute. But I don't care about watching people draw. It's not a thing that does it for me. However, she was not streaming her art. You okay, Maya? She was streaming a video game. Little number called Tales of Symphonia, also known as the greatest RPG ever, in my opinion. I really haven't found anything that tops it yet. I'm looking, because I'm always on the lookout for the next best RPG. Haven't found it yet, though. And I'm thinking, oh, I gotta watch this. And it was like the first episode of it, so I'm thinking, oh, she probably started it ages ago. No, she was still firing up the opening credits when I got in, so, ooh, I watched this thing from start to finish. And she only did like an hour and a half or so she didn't stream long. She could have done it as a YouTube episode, to be honest. But, hey, if she'd done that, it would not have been as good, because she wouldn't have the chat to play with. We wouldn't have gotten to see the adorable dancing Doopy. She has this little chibi dancing Doopy that apparently she drew, because she also animates. And every time she gets a new follower, the Doopy appears in the corner and just does this cute little happy cheerleader dance. It's really the only way I can think to describe it. Probably apt. And anyway, I had asked, and of course, if you've ever been on a live stream with an active chat, unless it's like a small chat, like the kind of chats that I would likely pull if I were live streaming, you know sometimes you gotta spam just to be heard. So, and I didn't bother to spam this question, which is it blind? And someone said basically, yeah. And I said, do you want any kind of non-major spoilers, like do you want hints? And I never got an answer. So I told her, hey, when you get Colette in your party, which was going to happen within the next minute, you know, talk to the Colette-shaped hole in the school wall. Which, she talked to it before Colette was in the party and got a little comment thing. And I had to remind her, it took me like 5 or 6 minutes to finally get noticed to do it. Because when you do that, Colette gets a title, and titles in that game affect your stats. Like, now that that title's equipped, as Colette goes, since it increases her hit points, accuracy, and attack, each time she levels up, her hit points, attack, and accuracy will be increased. Useful shit, you know? So I told her that, and I pretty much made myself useful doing this thing. Problem is, she's going to be streaming this mostly on Tuesdays, which are my clicks days, and next week I'm going to have to miss, and that's going to make me sad, because I got to do hero clicks, you know. But it saves to Twitch, and she's thinking about trying to put it up on YouTube, so that's awesome, so I can still watch it. Because Tales of Symphonia is the ultimate spectator's RPG. Because, can't really help you there, buddy. Because it has the most beautifully executed plot twist I've ever seen in anything. I mean, I've seen long animes that didn't have this many plot twists that weren't as well done. You know what, you can be up here now, because I don't have the PS3 on, you know, I'm not going to knock out the capture card. Worst comes to worst, Winkles will knock out my, my controller off to put it back in. So I'll have a couple seconds of no control. You know? Nobody. But yeah, so I'm gonna miss next week's hour or so, and depending, I might miss a couple others, but I'm gonna try and be on hand, because I'm basically acting as her walkthrough. And hopefully I'm not annoying her by doing so. But she didn't act pissed off, so I'm gonna take that as a maybe. That I'm doing a good job. And then they're like, I am, and I'm useful, and it's nice. But, no clicks. No clicks, Judge. Sorry, got in a car wreck last week, and his car's still in the shop. Understandable. You know, he's okay. At least as far as I know. I would like to think that if he'd gotten hurt, someone would have told me before now. But, you know how my friends are. You know how my family is, too. Fucking... There could be a hurricane and I don't find out until we're packing. That's not an exaggeration. It's happened. I'm like, why are we packing up? Going to your aunt's house. Why? Hurricane. Why didn't someone tell me? You know? I would have liked to know that I'm on the verge of a hurricane. But it's just a thing. I'm not overtly concerned. So, yeah. Ah, those weren't blueberries. Those were peppers. And I'm harvesting. Summer is such a good month for crops because of all the fucking goodies that I can yank out of the ground. Blueberries, man. Blueberries are nice and cheap. They grow fast, and they're worth so much money. Wrong chest. Shit, I don't need that many. Corn, hops. Peppers. I almost said roommate, not roommate. The neighbor. I talked with him, we finalized it on the 3rd, unless something goes horribly wrong. And it can, but I don't think it's going to. I will be getting $55 from him for the bike. The old bike. You know, I told him, hey, brakes are disconnected, you can reconnect them, they're fine. Tires are weird size, like, I don't care. I'm like, okay, $55, it's yours. At the moment, I'm currently loaning it to him. That's what I mean by if all goes well. I don't particularly think he's gonna just run off with the damn thing. If for no other reason than the fact that he relies on my roommate for additional money by mowing the lawn. And if he runs off with my bike and doesn't pay me, I will flat out yank that job right out from under him and tell him, hey, what are you paying him? I'll do it for less, you know? I mean, do we have a lawnmower, etc.? If not, we can probably get a hold of one. And I'll flat out cut his ass until I basically get my money back. But I don't think it'll be an issue because I don't think he would fuck himself over that bad. You know? So yeah, no clicks this week. Next week, Civil War. Final Civil War event, which I thought was going to be last month, but he tacked on another event, so yay us. I'm thrilled. I love the Civil War event. I wish it weren't so expensive, but if we pull it off the way we did last week, whew, I was alarmed last week. I went in, got my $25 from Anubis, and saw people buying 2 boosters, or 3 boosters. I'm like, wait a second, why are you buying 2 boosters? And he kept telling me we're doing 3 boosters, etc., and I basically panicked until he finally told me the rest of that, which is, we're doing 3 boosters for the cost of our 2, which is $20 or whatever. Or no, we're doing 2 boosters, that's what it is. Because a booster is normally $20. Then I saw 2 boosters, I'm like, I don't have this kind of money, I don't have to spare, etc. I've already allocated, and then he told me, no, we're still only charging 20 for them. I'm like, well, shit. So I got 3 boosters last week. So good. I played like ass last month. I played like ass. But we had enough people play and enough money pulled in that we all got a free booster, so it didn't matter. I basically pulled dead last. It was a very poor performance on my part, but they happen. They happen. Shitty performances happen. You gotta deal with them, you know. I try not to obsess. Sometimes you can't help it. Sometimes you can. But it is what it is. That's my favorite thing. It is what it is. Yeah, you're getting sick of hearing me say it. I can taste it in the wind. But that's just how things work. I would love to know what kind of Civil War event we're having this time. Is it going to be one of our stupid drafts, swap drafts rather, where I take my Cap team and my Iron Man team and we build 2 teams, or do I get to bring all my figures in and build out of those plus the draft? I mean, there's so many possibilities, and I'd love to know ahead of time what we're doing. I mean, I'm game for it. I just want to know, should I bring my shit or not? Because it sucks when you bring all your stuff and don't get to use it, you know? Well, I'm pretty fucking stacked here. Yeah, I figured I was at least the level for the new pole. So yeah, HeroClix next week. Gotta work on a lot of shit today. Gotta do some serious grinding on X2, because the thing with X2 is I'll do a bunch of grinding, then I'll do a video to either get a new dress sphere or a new garment grid or whatever. And then I'll do more grinding, and then more stuff, then more grinding, then another video or 2. And it's gonna be like this until I start mastering more shit. Because it Has to be like this. Oh, don't have it in yet. It's not in stock. No iridium pull from me just yet. Soon, probably. Gotta do Metal Gear. Gotta do all the Metal Gears, because November's coming. I've got to bite the bullet and finish Harvest Moon, which is starting to look like it's actually going to hit 50-something episodes instead of the 38 or whatever that I thought it was going to be, the 48. I'll find out soon enough. But again, next month, plans are looking good. I'll probably have that 55 from the neighbor. I might be borrowing as much as 50 from the roommate. I'm getting 50 from Mom, which will almost entirely go towards getting Pokemon Moon. But that being said, I will totally take the remaining $8 or so from my own cash. So I could have something like $115 or whatever, $113 next month of just extra shit. And that money is going to go towards fixing my 3DS, because it'd be the worst thing in the world to get Pokemon Sun and Moon and be so excited and have the damn thing crap out on me like a week after. And that's a very real danger, you know? As stupid as that seems, it's a very real danger. And then after that, I've got some money to play with. I might get some new games. Definitely gonna try and get my bus pass next month. And after that, I'm gonna try and get a job. I've got the nursing home gig I'm still gonna try for. I am gonna try the vocational rehab, and I might put in some apps at Walmart, because, hey, a job's a job. Fuck it, right? Don't care. And I have a friend that I might be able to put down as a reference. She lives in Gainesville, I want to say? Further away in Florida than I live. You know? But, with some money, and I mentioned this in Harvest Moon, because Harvest Moon acts as a surrogate this week in Kyrix sometimes. But I mentioned this in there, and I'm going to mention it here, that my goal is if I can pull a job and start pulling $750 or so a month, I'm going to set aside $100 a month to pay the roommate and to pay my friend back what I owe him. And I'm going to take about $300, which will still leave me $300 for myself. Easy, like $350 or something for myself. That's good money for me. I'm going to take that $300 and start setting it aside in the hopes of stockpiling to get a new computer. A powerful computer, a desktop computer. And I'm probably going to sound stupid on this, because I haven't kept up with computers in 8 years, so I don't know what's considered really high-end, you know. Ideally, I'd love to get as many terabytes of hard drive into these things as I can. If I can find, oh, here's a 50 tera hard drive, cool, can I have 6 of those in there? You know? I want to get as many terabytes on a single hard drive, and as many of those in the computer as possible, to hold all of my Let's Plays. And maybe get a couple more external hard drives to just hold extra shit. And then this laptop will become my personal carry-around do-shit computer, you know? And that will become my video gaming computer and such. That will exist solely for gaming and Let's Plays. Because it's a thing I really do need. You know, I need a higher-end system that I can record with a fucking Internet Explorer window open and not lag the shit out of the system, or to have Skype open and not lag the system, so that I can have a friend on voice chat or do picture-in-a-picture, I keep saying that, screen share with a friend for collabs, and not destroy any chance of having the thing work. I want to live stream. You know, I don't want to live stream and become a live streamer like Proton John does and whatever, where my YouTube channel's all but dead. It just exists to put my live streams and my highlights up. No. I want to be a YouTuber. who live streams and not a live streamer who YouTubes. Because being a YouTuber means I can do all this shit. I can, let's say, next year, 2017, I can decide, you know what, March, fuck it. March is grinding month, where I just sit down and make 170 videos, you know? Which, you gotta figure, 170 videos, that is 3 whole days for an entire year of videos. That's 3/7 of the year taken care of in 170 videos, you know? Or let's say, March and April, I just sit on my ass and make 480 videos, let's just say. You know, that's a year and then some. And well, that's 2019 right there. That way, if I don't want to, I don't have to work at all that year. I can sit on my ass and do whatever. Whereas if I'm live streaming, well, shit. I got a live stream Sunday, 2 to 4. Well, what if I got the shits, you know? Or what if I'm sick? Or what if I have a plan that comes up like, hey, we're gonna go, we just got, we got tickets to see this show. You know, like, let's say, or let's say I'd stream at night and like, oh, Raw is in town, it's just up the street. My friend had a ticket to go, he can't make it. You wanna go? Yes, I haven't watched wrestling in like 2 years, but I'll fucking go see Raw live again. That kind of thing. There are certain cases where just opportunities pop up that you cannot predict. Like, I went to see a baseball game once because my friend's upstairs neighbor had 2 tickets to go, and she didn't want to go, so she gave them to him, and he invited me. Which is funny, because I don't think he even knew that neighbor. I think she just, hey, you like baseball? I guess. Why? I got tickets to the Rays game. Back when they sucked. You know, I mean, I don't think they're much better now, but they were unequivocal garbage back then. This is early in their career as the Devil Rays still. You know, so. Ooh, a diamond and a spoon to eat the diamond with. But if you're live streaming and you have a schedule like that and you miss it, that's a lot bigger than today when I was 6 hours late uploading Harvest Moon. You know? I mean, people watch it, but I don't think people are waiting at midnight with bated breath like, oh, can't wait to watch him dig up his pineapples. So yeah, I watched the debate. Matter of fact, the Clicks judge texted me like 2 minutes before it started, hey, they're showing the debate on MSNBC. I'm like, I know, I'm already watching it, but thanks for the heads up anyway. And I mentioned the debate in today's This Week in Kyrix, in today's Harvest Moon. Didn't go into detail on it, because I don't want to make that too political. Well, here's the time that I talk about semi-controversial shit. Now, I'm going to say something that a lot of people are going to have a hard time understanding. Maybe not my viewers, but a lot of people that I know personally and through Facebook literally have a hard time understanding this when I say this. And I'm going to say 2 things, and it's important to listen to both of them. I am anti-Trump, and I am not pro-Hillary. Some people can't wrap their heads around that concept, the idea that I'm not voting for Trump, but I'm not a Hillary supporter. I'm voting for Hillary, but I'm not saying, oh, Hillary's the best. To me, it's a case of, I see Hillary as the status quo. I see Hillary as more of what the past 8 years have been. And I can make it through the past 8 years, again, to the next election. And survive. I don't think I can make it through 4 years of Trump in the same way. I really don't. I honestly, truly don't think I can make it through a Trump presidency. You know, it's just partly who Trump is, what he's like, what his policies are. I just don't see myself making it through that, honestly. I'm not trying to be snarky like, no. I mean, his policies would literally be the worst thing that you could do to me. You know, so. But, even if I were a Trump supporter, and I don't know how Trump supporters can see this and not come to the same conclusion, he made the biggest ass of himself at that debate. if you want a reason not to vote for Trump, not necessarily a reason to vote for Hillary. If you're a Gary Johnson guy, vote for him. I don't know how you could be, but then again, it's hard to wrap your head around other people's opinions at all, much less when they conflict so wildly with yours. But and I've seen people on Facebook, and I don't get this, like, oh, Trump knocked out of the park. I'm like, no, he did not. What park are you in, sir? Or, oh, he's the demeanor of a president, something I can identify with. And I'm like, really? You identify with a bored, spoiled child? Because that's what I saw. And you don't have to be anti-Trump to realize he acted like a fucking child. I mean, I'm not exaggerating or being cute when I say I honestly expected at any moment to see Hillary reach her right hand out and smack him in the mouth. Because when I acted like that as a child, that's what happened to me. I caught a fucking hand across the face. You know? Because what he would do is he would just interrupt. I think it was, what, 56 times or so, 58 times to her 17 or something like that. That's a wide margin. And I don't know if they counted each time he interrupted, like each time he said something, or just when he went off on a tangent when she was talking, if that was counted as one. Like he'd say, nope, wrong, that's wrong. I don't know if that was like 8 interruptions or 1. Because, and she didn't just do it to her, he did it to the moderator too. And if I'd have been the moderator, I'd have cut his fucking mic for that. You know, because I wouldn't have put up with that bullshit. And people can say that Hillary wasn't asked as many questions as Trump. But the difference is, she actually answered her questions really well. And did it in a way that didn't make her look like an idiot. Because Trump did some really stupid stuff, like the birther thing. Of course the birther thing would be brought back up. The whole, oh, you, even after the president showed his birth certificate, you still ran on, oh, he's not from this country. It's like, well, you see, I'm very proud of the fact that I got him to show the birth certificate. I'm proud of the fact that even when everyone else let this story drop, I kept it alive. I'm like, but let the story drop because it was over, you know? That's like saying, oh, the Cowboys are going to win the Super Bowl. They can't win the Super Bowl 3 weeks after the Super Bowl ended. The reason the story's dropped because the Super Bowl fucking ended. You know? And I don't know if the Cowboys and the fucking whatever team I mentioned are the ones who would be most likely to be in the Super Bowl. I just picked the first 2 teams, or the second and third team that came to my head. The first team was the Bucks. I'm like, Bucks aren't going to Super Bowl. We barely managed that the first time. But, yeah. The reason the story dropped is because it was a dead story. It didn't exist anymore. Because you lost that war. That's why you don't see a lot of reports on the Civil War in the news, because that ended a long time ago. And sorry, South, you lost. I say as a man living in Florida. To this day, I do not understand fake Americans. Not fake Americans, fake patriots. They're real Americans, they're just bad at it. Because growing up, was always told that if you're an American, you're not just, oh, I'm a white guy. No, you're a fucking American. You're not a black person, you're American. You know? That if you're here and you make an attempt to assimilate, you're an American. That's all it takes. You don't have to be good at assimilating. You can talk to me through the world's thickest accent in English, to the point where I can barely understand what you're saying, but you're speaking English. And you know what? That's all I need. I just need to know that you've attempted to learn the language of the country, you know? Hell, there are times when I don't English that well. Some of them are on purpose, but sometimes you've heard me flub sentences before. Oh, you've heard me flub paragraphs before. You know, you don't have to be fluent in English, just make the attempt to learn. I'll give you credit for just the trying, you know? And you don't have to abandon your culture. You can still be very proud of your heritage. But here's the thing. if you are, and I'll use Mexicans as an example because I grew up in one. If you are Mexican and you come from Mexico and your family lived in Mexico, and you live in America the way you lived in Mexico, then you're not American. You're Mexican living in America. That's the thing. And that's just how it is to me. And that's insensitive. I'll readily admit that. It's probably fucked up. Might be incorrect, but that's just the way I see it. However, if you come to America and you try to be American, you know, yeah, you speak Spanish. Big deal. You have, I don't know, piñatas at parties. I didn't blend well with Mexican culture. A lot of Mexican kids, but we did have a very us versus them mentality. And I grew up minorly racist against Mexican kids because they were everywhere. And because they didn't attempt to assimilate, and this is partly what formed my views on immigration, is the fact that they didn't really make an attempt to assimilate. They also fed into the us versus them mentality. Like, very few times. There was one kid in particular. One. And I didn't know his last name, so I'm actually going to say his first name, because the odds that he's watching this, and that he remembers me, because we didn't really associate. But there was one kid in particular, one Mexican kid named Louis. And he was the sole exception to the rule. He spoke really good English, and he spoke English well, so he didn't speak a lot of Spanish. When he was spoken to in Spanish, he would reply in Spanish, but he didn't just go up to the other Mexican kids and start flurrying into Spanish, you know. And he hung out a lot, mostly, with the non-Mexican kids. And the reason this is important also is, I'm pretty sure that all the Mexican kids there were all related. I think they were all cousins and whatnot. Not like, oh, they're Mexican, they're all related. No, I'm pretty sure I've heard them refer to each other as being related. And I think he was like a cousin, whereas the rest of them were like brothers and such. So he was not as closely related, and that might have been a thing. Plus, he was also several years older than the rest of them. Which, again, may have contributed to that. But he did not act the same way. He assimilated, you know. And the other ones didn't, for the most part. They lived like, you know, like... One particular case that sticks out for me. And I know this comes off as incredibly racist, and I apologize. And I've done my best to get over any legitimate hatred of like, oh, you're Mexican, so I don't like you. No. You can be Mexican, and I don't like you. But I'm doing my best that something like that is not going to be the reason. There are plenty of reasons to dislike people, and I will find legitimate ones if I have to. But we were driving to the mall once, me and my friend, and we saw this Mexican couple hosing down their naked child in the front yard. I've been in the apartment that they lived in. It was next door to the one I grew up in. And I had 3 friends that lived there at some point. And I don't mean like, oh, three of my friends lived... No, 3 different times I've had friends that lived there. So I've spent a lot of time in that apartment growing up, you know. And I know they have a tub. Matter of fact, I'm pretty sure they had 2 of them, because they had a slightly bigger apartment, because they were the A apartment, we were the apartment in a quadplex. You know, A, B, upstairs is C and D. I think their apartment was bigger than ours, and I think they had 2 bathrooms. So I know they had a fucking tub that they could have washed that baby in. And it was a baby. This kid was like 4 at the most, you know. I'm willing to bet closer to 2 or 3. But that's not something you see most people do, hosing down a naked child in their front yard. And it's a cultural thing, you know. But still, it's a weird thing. But yeah, going back to the whole debate thing, Trump made an absolute ass of himself. This was his chance. Because he had the rhetoric to get the angry people and the racists. Because you cannot deny he has a lot of racists. I'm not saying every Trump supporter is racist. I'm not saying half of the Trump supporters are racist. But at least half the racists are Trump supporters. You know? One does not equal the other, but the two do collaborate. You know? He has the racist vote. Hillary doesn't. She's a white woman. She's not getting the racist vote. You know? Very few racists will take a white woman over a white man in any situation, because they tend to also be sexist. And I'm not digging into the sexist can of worms, because, but he's got the racist vote, he's got the angry vote, he's got the false patriot vote of just, oh, these immigrants. You know, he's got them. And this was his chance to get the normal people vote. This was his chance to look presidential. This is his chance to not look like an unprepared dipshit. And he blew it. Because it's a fact. And it's something he's admitted to, that he did almost no prep for this debate. You know, he was bragging on the news like a month ago, like, oh, I don't need prep. I can handle myself in a debate. I don't need to prepare to beat Hillary in a debate. And the problem is, I think he looked at this, and I've made this comparison to people, and they've like, yeah, that makes sense. I don't think he looked realized that a debate is not the same as a talk show interview. I really don't. I think he thinks they're the same thing, and that's understandable, you know, because in many cases, they are similar. But you look for different things in those things. In a talk show interview, it's perfectly fine to talk over the host. Especially if your host is Bill O'Reilly, who's famous for yelling over his guests. And that's not a partisan thing, that's a fact. He yells over his guests. He'll tell you he yells over his guests. Colbert did it, parodying him, where he's like, if your guest can complete a sentence, you fucked up. You know? So yeah, in the circles that he is used to, which are talk shows and interviews and occasionally press conferences, you talk over people. That's just what you do. In a debate, that's not what you do. It's the exact wrong etiquette. And because he didn't pay attention to his prep, which is something he's kind of known for, is ignoring what his handlers tell him, he treated it like it was just, oh, I'm on the Tonight Show. I'm going to talk over Hillary and the moderator. And doing that made him look like a fucking child who was throwing a temper tantrum. Wrong. Trump, you get like a 3-minute rebuttal. You don't need to spend her question answering on that when you have a full, uninterrupted rebuttal that you can say whatever the fuck you please, and all you gotta do is wait for her 3 minutes to be up. And he couldn't do that. And that reflects poorly on him. Because what happens when he's at the diplomat's table and does this? That's not a thing you do in diplomacy. That's bad. That's dangerous. That's not how you build a better country. And I'm pretty sure his next debate's showing, because I think he's scheduled for 2 more, plus there's a vice presidential debate. I'm pretty sure he'll have a much better showing in that, because he'll realize, well, I fucked up. Maybe these people know what they're talking about, and listen to his handlers and come out swinging. You know? But then again, Trump's also famous for sticking to his guns to his detriment, so he might do the same thing at the next 2 debates. And let's also not forget that debates don't necessarily mean anything. As we were reminded several times, Kerry was considered to have won the debates. There was no President John Kerry. To be fair, the man had the charisma of a stone. You know. And I want to go on record, I don't hate Trump as a person. I really don't. I think he's an asshole. But I hang out with assholes. You know, that's not necessarily a mark against you. But, I mean, I don't necessarily think I'd hang out with Trump if I were to meet him and we were to hit it off. But, I chat over the phone with him, you know? But, I don't think he has what it takes to be president. There's a big difference between hating someone and thinking they'd be a good leader. You know? Because I have friends who just cool people, great friends, but I don't think they have what it takes to be a president. You know, like my friend Jay. Sorry, Jay. He cool guy, real mellow, real laid back, and I think that the stress alone of being president would fucking kill him. You know? Even if he had the ideal, boring-ass, lame-duck presidency where nothing happens. The presidency we thought Bush was going to have before 9/11. Because that's a thing to remember. Bush was just this charming little joke until 9/11 happened. You know? You remember a show on Comedy Central, That's My Bush, where they just made him out as this dopey sitcom husband, and it was real funny. It was real cute. You know? And that's the president we had. And you know what? I'd have been fine with 4 years of that. But 9/11 happened, and 9/11 was very bad. And you can say he made the country safer. I don't particularly think he did. Because part of making the country safer involves diplomacy, and he didn't do that so well. But that's beside the point. If a 9/11 were to occur in Trump's watch, I don't think he can handle it. I really don't. I honestly think he might be inclined to instigate something like that. Not on purpose, but it would be bad. I think he would do very bad things in the White House. Because he doesn't know diplomacy. It's beyond him. Because, and he said this, that he would run the country like a business. Well, the country and the business are not the same thing. You do not run a little league team the way you would run an archaeological dig. They're both teams. But just because you're a great archaeologist doesn't mean you're going to be a great baseball coach. Or football coach, or whatever. You know? But I don't think he would be president. I don't think he'd be a good president. You know? I think he's very entertaining. I'd love to see him on TV. You know, lots of people love watching him on TV because he's an asshole. And let's face it, a lot of times assholes are fun to watch on TV. Watch Die Hard. John McClane is an asshole, you know? Blade is an asshole from the Blade series. Tony Stark, asshole. We love him for being an asshole. But I really wouldn't trust Tony Stark to be the president either. He kind of has a bad track record when you put him in charge of the country in the comics, you know? And remember this way. I consider Tony Stark to be an idealized version of what Trump thinks he is. You know, where Trump thinks he's charming and suave and sophisticated. And he's not. But I wouldn't trust Tony Stark to be the president. You know? Because Tony Stark is so intelligent that he thinks he knows what's best. And he would do all kinds of black market, black ops, clandestine shit. Because that's what he's famous for in the comics. I don't think Hillary would be a great leader, either. I really don't. People keep talking about her tendency to flip-flop, and I talk about the fact, like, oh, and 10 years ago she had a different thing. I'm like, well, 10 years ago I had different opinions, too. I honestly hope that you don't think the same thing now that you thought 10 years ago. Without at least taking it off the shelf, looking at it, making sure it still fits. Because I'll tell you one thing. It took exactly 1 year for the country to think of George Bush as this lovable buffoon, to having 9/11 happening and either thinking he's the greatest thing to ever happen to this country or the worst thing that ever happened to this country. A year. 2 years, actually. Because he got elected in 2000. Or at least he took office in 2000. That's a little controversial as well. Especially for me, because I was in Florida. And we were kind of the focal point of that bullshit. But you get the idea either way. So if that's all that 2 years can do, What kind of changes are you going to make in your mindset over a 30-year career? You know? It's not a gift, you fucker. It's a sunfish. Well, fuck you then. Enjoy the sunfish, you bastard. I hate when the game does shit like that. These are 4 sunfish. They're not starred or anything. Are they supposed to be starred? Nope, just sunfish. But yeah, it's... Like I said, there's certain people that you love them or you hate them, but you don't think they'd be a great leader. There are people I hate that I think would be fantastic leaders, you know? Like, you want to know my alternative? Like, if I couldn't have Bernie Sanders, because I was a Sanders guy. Do you know who my second choice would be? Jesse Ventura, former governor of Minnesota. And I don't agree with Jesse on a lot of shit. Like, he's a bit of a conspiracy nut. I'm not. But you know what? I like the way Jesse thinks about things. You know, there aren't conspiracy theories. I like the fact that he owns up to shit. And I like the fact that he will brook no shit from anyone. Because you cannot intimidate a guy who used to crawl in the ring with 300- and 400-pound men and get tossed around like a rag doll as a day job. I'm sorry, no amount of congressmen are going to intimidate that man. No press corps is going to intimidate that man. No talk show host is going to intimidate that man. I mean, even throwing out his military service, which is controversial as well. Because allegedly he says he went to Vietnam and he didn't. I don't know. None of my business, you know? If I had a vote right now, and I didn't think it'd be a wasted vote, I'd vote Ventura. I'd vote Ventura for president. You know, I wish he'd run. I don't care what fucking party he run for. You want me to vote? You want me to vote Republican? Get him Republican. He won't run Republican. He notoriously hates the Republicans because he apparently, in his own words, had his own party in Minnesota, and the Republicans basically put people into that party, got them in high positions, took the money and ran, and fucking left his party to die. So yeah, he honestly thinks that Trump's trying to do to the Republicans what the Republicans did to him. But no, I vote Jesse Ventura. I'm not a Democrat, I just typically side with him. I'm an independent. You know, I don't... It irks me. It truly irks me when I hear someone is a Democrat or a Republican. Or a Libertarian. Because that doesn't tell me this is what I believe in. This tells me that this is what I'm voting for regardless. There was a woman who, after the debates, basically said, I'm voting for the Conservative Party, and if this jackass is at the head of that mule train, then so be it. No. I'm sorry. Here's where my standards go. If Trump were to be the Democrat nominee, running the exact same way, and the Democrats nominated him, he was the Democratic frontrunner, I would not vote for him because I think he's fucking dangerous. And if Mitt Romney, again, managed to become the Republican frontrunner, I'm voting Romney that year. Romney-Trump? Romney versus Trump? I'm voting Romney. Because I don't like Romney. I disagree with Romney on damn near everything. But he's not a nutbag. Well, Mormons are considered nutbags as a whole, but he's not a nutbag for reasons beyond that. Like, politically, I think he's a very sane individual. And when he's not being forced to toe the party line, like he was when he ran, which I think really hurt his electability, he apparently had a lot of policies that I agree with. But unfortunately, the party basically made him, here's what you're running on. Here's what you believe in now. And I don't like candidates that are for sale like that. But here's the deal. Even, again, using that example, or here's a better example. I didn't like Bush. But I've told people, if I had the choice right now between voting for Trump and putting a third term on President W. Bush, I'm voting Bush. Period. Because whatever I think of him, he's a safer bet than Trump. I honestly don't feel safe with that man in office. You know, and it's not a partisan thing. Because like I said, and I truly mean this, I don't care what party he's running for, he's dangerous. He's too easy to provoke. Before the debate happened, I called this months ago that Hillary was going to run rings around him because it's so easy to provoke him, and all she has to do is provoke him and let him tear himself down. She doesn't have to do shit, and she really didn't. Matter of fact, he brought up one of the big things, like one of the big arguments was Trump's temperament and how that kind of disqualified him for office. And he brought it up. That's like saying that there were allegations that in his teenage years he got drunk and fucked a horse, you know? And they're like, oh, Hillary's totally going to bring up the fact that Trump fucked a horse as a kid, you know? And Trump comes out now, I want to say that even though I own a stable, I don't fuck horses. That's not something you bring up, sir. You let your opponent bring that up, and you have a defense plan for it. Now, we're not going to plan out this day, because I've got like 10 minutes left. I'm just basically chit-chattering. But I'll tell you one thing, next week's going to be awesome. Look at all this stuff. Look at all these blueberries. And hops. And peppers. I said peppers last because I was trying to remember what the fuck they were called. But yeah, by the way, just to show this off, here's the radius on this scarecrow. And then it comes up to like, no, I did that wrong. But yeah, it's like, then you go 4 up like this, or better yet, I'll show it down here and just consider it mirrored. Because I talked about the radius on these fuckers. This is what a scarecrow radius looks like. And then up again. But yeah, basically this and then mirrored up there. And that's the kind of fucking radius this fucker has. That's ridiculous. It's like 248 crops. But anyway, I'm sorry I got so political and shit. Debates just happen. Sue me. Please don't sue me. I have no money. I'll see you all next week. Bye-bye.